So looking at the comments of my last video on the Osmo Pocket, there was a couple of people asking about why I hand hold a microphone. Like, why does everyone who has an Osmo hold the microphone in their hand? It comes with a lapel mic. Why don't you just clip it to your shirt? And I think that's an interesting topic because to me, it says more about the creator and their intention than anything. And I'll start off by saying the microphone on the Osmo, you can hand hold it, you can clip it to your shirt, you can put it in your pocket, you can do whatever you want with it. There's nothing that is making you hold it. That is just a preference that I choose to have in regards to how I do my content creation. And I'll kind of explain why. Primarily, it is because of the audio quality. Yes, you can absolutely clip a microphone to your shirt and still get pretty good audio. However, when I am creating my vlog content, I'm typically using that audio. Maybe I'm using it in that shot. Maybe I'm using it in a different shot because I like to do a lot of voiceovers. Sometimes if I'm filming a vlog over a week, I might record 20 different scenes. However, I'm not going to use all of them. Sometimes I'm like, oh, that's not really relevant. I don't like that scene. That doesn't match with continuity. Like, there's a million reasons why I could take something out. But the audio always being super clean is very helpful because I can still use it in a different segment. I can use it for a voiceover. I can use it to add context. Just really clutch to have clean audio. And even though I could clip the microphone to my shirt and still get pretty good audio, I don't want to pick up the ambience from that environment. And typically, if you have your microphone on your shirt, you're going to talk a little bit louder because you're picking up not only your voice, but you're also picking up, kind of what's going around. And that's just personal preference, not what I want to do. If I showed you all my old videos, you will notice that I'm typically not outside. I'm like in the house. I tried not to go anywhere. I tried to really avoid being out in public. And it's because not having a microphone where it was like very low key, because wireless microphones weren't really big back then. Not having something where I could be inconspicuous and it was really small, like that Mic Mini for the DJI Osmo is really tiny. So because it is so small, I can hold it in my hand. I can hold it pretty close and no one will ever know that I am recording audio. That still allows me to get that super clean audio that I want. And it makes me feel more confident in filming in public. And, I got to be honest, I'm still a little gun shy when it comes to getting out and filming in public. But the other thing kind of goes back to the first one, which is that I prefer the audio of my voice through a microphone when I'm holding it compared to when it's clipped to my shirt. I used to do a lot of podcasting back in the day, and when I was doing that, I would have a microphone set up on my desk. And when I was podcasting, I noticed I actually preferred the sound of my voice through the Zoom H4n when I typically don't like the sound of my voice at all. And because of that, I started thinking like, okay, well, maybe I'm just using the wrong tool or I'm using tools incorrectly. Lapel mics didn't really sound that great to me. Boom mics didn't sound that great. But that mic, that field monitor with the phantom power in it, really close up when I'm speaking, I actually really like that. So that made me think I should just try to find a solution that makes my audio sound better to me. And it's more of a creative choice than anything. It's not that you have to do one thing or another. It's not that there's a rule. Like, the one thing, if you get anything out of this channel regarding like making content that I want to push, is that there are no rules. You can absolutely do whatever you want to do. I know this looks stupid. I don't care. It gives me the audio that I want. It allows me to do what I want to do in post. It allows me to create what I want to create. But that's just the price of admission if I want to do what I'm doing currently. If you decide you want to just clip it to your shirt, then do that. Like, that's a great way to use the microphone. So personally, if I'm carrying the Mic Mini around and I walk into an environment and there's different sounds I want to get, maybe I want to get the sounds of my footsteps walking on the ground. Maybe I want to try to get a little bit of the ambience. Maybe I want to get the sound effects from, my keys in my hand. I can easily do that if I have the microphone in my hand as opposed to it being on my shirt, clipping it. Again, it's not that you can't do anything. Of course, I can clip it back on my shirt or I can carry it in my hand. But when you're out there in the field and you're trying to create content, this stuff is happening so fast and your mind is kind of racing because you're trying to think about what you want to do. Also, you're trying not to redo stuff. And, my main thing with my content creation is I try to make it as authentic as possible. And in order to do that, clean audio is the key. There are a lot of times when I cannot show you the visual of what's going on, but I can capture the audio and I can, film something that matches that scene and then play that audio underneath it. I make content on my life as a single dad. So there are a lot of intimate moments between me and my son that maybe I don't want to share on camera. However, even having that audio is pretty cool. Maybe I can't get that same cinematic angle that I would normally like to have. If I have that audio, there's a pretty good chance that I can use it in a way that still tells that exact same story. This whole conversation is about the importance of audio, and I think that's what people miss when they're simply looking at someone holding a microphone and they think it's about being cool, or maybe it's a distraction for their hands because they don't want to be moving around too much. That could be a thing for some people. But again, for me, it's about personal preference. It's about what makes me able to create the content as easy as possible. And really, it's just about being in the moment. I feel like carrying the microphone allows me to be in the moment. It allows me to be more authentic. It allows things to be way more easy and inconspicuous. And it just makes content creation fun. There are absolutely no rules when it comes to this. Yes, there's filmmaking rules, but this is content creation typically, and there's no rule book for this. God, people stop texting me. So you can absolutely do what you want to do with your content. You don't have to do what you've seen other people do. You can come up with your own thing. I know I've seen people now, clipping the microphone to their hat, which is again something else you can do if you prefer that. But personally, I just want the cleanest audio possible, and this is what I have to do to get it. Like I said, this is all a creative choice. There are no rules. If you are out filming and you find that you prefer to get the microphone further away from you so that you can actually capture more of that ambience so it feels more like you're in the environment, then do that. Most of the decisions that I've made regarding content creation were things that I formulated over time. They were not the way I started out doing things. Even having a 2-camera setup with the Osmo Pocket 3 and my Sony ZV-E10. Originally, I thought I'd be cutting back and forth between the 2 cameras, but once I started using it and I started trying to match colors, it didn't really work. But what I did find when I was shooting with both cameras is that I was getting clean audio from the DJI Mic Mini, and then I was getting ambient sound from the Sony ZV-E10. And that I really liked. I liked the ability to capture both, have the option for either camera, even though I was only going to choose one in post. But these are just lessons that you learn in the field. And that is why I'm just encouraging you to get out and figure out what works for you. You can't watch a bunch of videos and see what other people say because yes, there's rules. Yes, there's things that someone has a preference for, but your preference can be completely different, can be based on your experiences, can be based on what you do, what you create, and what you want to create in the future. So don't get caught up in what other people are telling you you have to do. You can kind of do whatever you want. Now, I'm not saying don't learn things that are important to learn, but when it comes to something as small as whether you should handhold the microphone or clip it to your shirt, that one's on you.